Hello everyone, welcome to JCE Connect. So in this class, we'll study about factors affecting labor productivity. So here you can see many factors which will affect the labor productivity. So usually productivity is nothing but output divided by input, what we can say. So output is directly nothing but what exactly by using the labors will get the products, right? And how exactly it will be, and input in the sense how we are providing to get the maximum productivity at the end. So which are the inputs we are going to provide for those labors, right? So here you can see the many factors which will directly affect the labor productivity part. So in that you can see overtime, morale and attitude, stacking of trades, and over time many more are there. Okay, so we'll study one by one now. So if you consider overtime now, so in overtime the scheduling of extend work days or weeks which are exceeding a standard 8 hours work day or 40 hours work week, so that lowers the work output and efficiency through the physical fatigue and poor mental attitude. So usually in the many construction sectors that working hours will be fixed for the labors. So as per the standard procedure part which are given by the construction industries, minimum 8, I mean maximum 8 hours of working schedules we need to fix for one day. And like that, in a one particular week we need to take the work of maximum 5 days from the labors, and remaining 2 days we need to give the rest for them, or else in other work, in other part what we can say, per one week we need to take 40 hours of the works from the labors, so then only we can get the maximum output by the labors. Because more than that, if we start providing the workload to the labors, so that leads in the decrement of the productivity part. Because without rest, if they start focusing on the work, or if they start continuing with the work, they can't focus much on that particular work, because they need somewhat rest to their mind as well as the body. Okay, so providing overtime other than this work schedule, so that leads in the decrement of productivity part. And moving on to the next one. So we have finished overtime now, and now it's morale and attitude. So here the spirit of workers, that is based on the willingness, confidence, discipline and cheerfulness to perform work or the tasks, which can be lowered due to a variety of issues that including increased conflicts, disputes, excessive hazards, overtime, over inspection, multiple contract changes, disruption of work rhythm, poor site conditions, absenteeism, unkempt workplace, and so on. So here we need to follow the standard morale in the construction sectors with respect to, I mean, among with the labors, because at the end we need to get the maximum productivity for the work which is carried by the labors. So that time we need to give much motivations to the workers, and that productivity of the work, that is purely dependent upon the willingness of the labor. So that person, if they want to do that particular work, surely he will be doing that one within the time and within the even specified budgets, right? So he should have that much confidence, and he should have certain disciplines with respect to that work whatever he is going to be carried out. And here, so that things whatever which are there, that is willingness, confidence and discipline, so that one, the chances of these positive factors such as willingness, confidence and disciplines are nowadays are going to be lower due to various reasons. For example, variety of issues might be they are not paying the proper salary, or they are not providing the proper facility, or else the work pressure is more, and in some cases the work can be repeatedly carried out. So that time mentally that laborers will be stressed, because they are doing repeated works without any salary, without any rest means, so that mentally they will be unstable to do that work. So that time also that productivity of the work can be lowered. Okay. And third one, that is stacking of trades. So here, third one, that is stacking of trades. So here, this particular process occurs when operations takes place within the physically limited space with the other contractors, that resulting in the congestion of personnel, inability to use or locate the tools, that conveniently increased loss of tools, and then additional safety hazards, increased visitors, and prevention of view size optimum. And then fourth one is overtime. So here overtime, which one, I think it's got repeated. And fourth one, you can see in the next slide, that is beneficially occupancy. So here beneficially occupancy, that is a result of working over or around or in close proximity to the other crafts, owner's personal or production equipment, that may cause noise limitations, dust, or other hazardous risk. So this may also prevent or causes access restrictions. Okay, and here the stacking of trades. So that one we have finished already, and then the concurrent operations. So this is effect of adding the operations to any sequence of the operations that has already been planned. Okay, so without a gradual and controlled implementation of additional operations, it's nothing but what, here each and everything will be planned at the initial stage. So that time, if you start providing certain works at a time, I mean two different works will be there, and morning you need to do that work and evening you need to do this work. If you assign the works like this, so it is difficult to concentrate on both the works when you have started the concurrent operations. And next, mobilize and demobilize. So that is purely relates to moving the resources and on and moving off to the projects as a result from changes or delays. So that is again what mobilize and demobilize, in the sense, in some cases labors will be available, and you will not be getting any other resources such as materials as well as the machines. So that time the laborers will get frustrated, and simply they need to sit from morning to evening. So again it leads what, the decrement in the mental stability to do that particular work. So they will be preparing to do that so and so works, and when they will sit simply, and that mindset will get changes as per that concerned person. Okay. And so that is because of what, changes or delays that causing the work disruptions. So here productivity that may get drops during these periods, as time is lost when that crews move from one area or work assignment to the other. So might be that person, he can shift from one project to the another project. So that time he will be doing half of the work in one project, and if he shift to the next project, again it is difficult to come back with those all steps of the techniques, experience and all. So that time that productivity will get loses. One person is start doing in one project, he should be there till to complete that particular project. So if you start moving from one project to the other project, depends upon the availability or requirement. So that time that productivity will get reduces. And next, start and stop. So this results from a work stoppage or a suspension of work. So that may cause us a break in the schedule, usually triggering a start or stop of the work activity. So this particular stop and starts that can have an impact on productivity and even on the cost of the project. So the work scheduled or reassigned during holidays such as Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's and so on are often impacted with the stop and starts. Okay, so here the workers they are tends to discuss the time off and lose previous momentum with a drop in productivity just before they get back in routine. That is nothing but what? So that work is going in a such a flow, in a particular flow. In that case, if you give certain holidays in between the work, and if they come back from holidays or else any festivals, on the next day it is very difficult to get back to the work that whatever they were doing in the previous part. So there also that productivity will be get reduced in that particular durations just after those holidays and the other part of the leaves, right? But it's not like we should not give the holidays and all, so holidays also should be there, but we need to think about the required work and then we should assign the holidays. So moving on to the next factor, that is site access. So usually this is a result of interferences to the convenient or planned access to the work areas. So usually that working area it should be nearer to the labor such that that morning time whatever they are going to travel from their stay place to the working area. So it should be nearer to them, because if they have used those all energies in the traveling only, so at the time of workplace it will be very difficult to use the extra energy. So they will be having calm mind and in the peace of mind while in the working environment, so that it will be much useful in the gaining of labor productivity. And next, this logistics. So here how exactly this logistics will get affect with the labor productivity part. So here insufficient or poor material handling, usually the resources such as materials and all it will be shifting from transferring from one place to the another place by using various mode of transportation. Okay, so in that cases while handling those materials somewhat it's got damaged or might be it got breaks sometime. So that time again the laborers have to wait, and again that decreases the productivity of the labor. And owner furnished material procurement practices or lack of controls that can use certain it may get causes the procurement or delivery problems as well as the other issues. Okay, so this that prevents delays or disrupts the normal material workflow to a work area, right? And so here this can also be a result from the additional replacement or substitution of material due to a concrete contract changes and even the defects or delays at the work site. So that also particularly delays, these certain factors such as delays, defects and contract changes. So usually the contract changes that directly relates a decrement of the productivity of the labor, because a previous contract person has been instructed with a certain procedure part and all. So the same thing if it gets continued with the next contractor also, suppose a next contractor he will come and suggest his own ideas with his own theories as well as the techniques. So again it is very difficult to be stick with his response from one contract to the another contract. So that time the laborers will be having the chaotic mindset among themselves, and again that productivity will get reduces. Okay, and next, hazardous work area. So this is caused when working in an area that is classified as hazardous, requiring special safety equipments and clothing. So basically for laborers we need to provide all the necessary precautions or facilities in the working area, such as we need to provide them safe working environment place as well as the safety equipment such as helmets and all, because At the time of working in the high-rise buildings and all, the chances of accidents will be more. So that time, if certain accident or hazardous get occurs with the laborers, by seeing that other laborers also, they will be reducing their mindset to work on such areas. So without causing any accidents, we need to handle it carefully by providing so many safety precautions to the laborers, such that we need to create a safe working environment place in the construction part. Okay, and then that restrictions that may limit the time and exposure of the workers to the areas, that resulting in the less time on tools in the area. For example, few places will be there, so those places are like very difficult to work in such area. For example, tunnels and all, right? So in tunnels, the chances of, I mean, that working area will be too dangerous compared to the other part of the construction. So you can see the building constructions and all, so usually it will be on the ground, and the chances of accidents will be less. But in the tunnel, we can't say that how exactly that structures will be there, and how they are going to be rules us while working with that aspect. Okay, so we need to be very thorough with that, and we need to take the necessary safety precautions without considering any accidents or hazards. And then shorter daylight hours, so that delays again that can cause the work to be deferred from one time period to the next, so which may involve seasonal changes. And even in the different regions and locations around the world also have the different amounts of daylight hours depending on the season. So in our Indian country only, you can see that sunlight, it will get varies from state to state. So here usually it will the sunrise will get occurs, I mean, get starts 6 to 7, but the same thing in the Sikkim, especially in the East Sikkim, you can see the sunrise from 4:30 to 5, right? So that is again dependent upon the place or location. So that time we need to fix the working hours properly, that whenever the daylight will be available. Okay, and so here weather and seasonal changes, so that is performing the work in a change of season or a temperature zone or climate changes that resulting in the work performed in either very hot or very cold weather. You can consider even rain or snow or other changes in the temperature or climate. So purely these factors, they are going to impact workers beyond the normal conditions. So in the summer season and all, it is very difficult to work after 12 o'clock, because lot of heat will be there, and in that if they want to work in the construction site and all, so that time the work will be get slower, and again it leads in the decrement of the productivity. Okay, and next, alternating or staggered or rotating work schedules. So this usually results in unusual or unique scheduled work periods that designed to optimize craft hours they have worked, attract to a labor to remote sites and minimize the fatigues. Okay, so usually this weather and season changes in the rainy season and all, if they start to work with the concrete aspects, so even we need to take care about the materials that whatever we are going to use there, and even we need to take our own safety in such areas. So that time it is very difficult to work with the labor's part, because however we have hired them on the contract basis, and that time even though if they didn't work, we need to pay the salary or wages for them. So again, with respect to that cost, that productivity will get reduced. So some environmental changes and all we can't predict properly, so during that period that labor productivity will be surely reduced. And in other climate changes like cold and all, it is very difficult to handle with the materials, because of the extreme cold conditions that may leads in the decrement of the productivity part. So these are several factors what you have seen from overtime to the alternating or staggered rotating work schedules. So this one, they are surely affecting the labor productivity, and you need to concentrate much as a